I fully believe that porn addiction is like a drug. When researchers were analyzing the brain waves and brain patterns of somebody who is addicted to pornography, the brain waves and the brain patterns were very similar, if not exactly the same, as someone who is addicted to cocaine or other hard drugs. And so many young men out there are addicted to pornography. There's plenty of reasons why it's a growing epidemic right now, but I want to give you my personal experience and tell you about the times when I wasn't addicted to porn. Now, I'm not addicted to porn. I don't have a crippling addiction. But this mindset and this attitude, it really helped me a lot in not falling back into this very destructive habit. A lot of people, when they approach porn addiction, they look at it in a very one-dimensional sense and they just say, oh, I'm addicted to porn, therefore I'm gonna stop watching porn. It's not that simple. You being addicted to porn is just the symptom. It is the symptom of something missing or something going wrong in your life, and that is why you are falling onto pornography to fulfill a base need or desire. Let me explain if it's not making any sense, okay? You need to realize that you, as a young man, as a human being, you have a base need or desire to recreate, and you cannot escape that. Unless you fucking castrate yourself, you are always gonna have the desire to find a woman and procreate, or a man if that's what you're into. You know, we don't discriminate in 2026. Pet owners castrate their dogs. They call it fixing their dogs. It's literally so their dogs don't go crazy, become violent, and hurt someone. A lot of people, when they have pets like dogs, cats, these animals are usually kept at home. It's just them or one other dog, right? So the animal doesn't have the environment to go and procreate. And if they still have their nutsack, they're gonna go crazy. The same thing applies for you. You still have your nuts. You're still producing testosterone, I hope. And you still have the base need or the base desire to go and procreate. But because we're in this loneliness epidemic where people don't talk to each other as much face to face, people aren't going out socially as much, we kind of lost this sense of community, and we've tried to substitute it with artificial things like social media, video games, pornography, and it just leads you to being in the wrong environment, an environment where you cannot fulfill this base desire. So you fall to the next thing, and that is pornography. Someone said this once, I think it was Andrew Huberman. He said that pornography is short-circuiting your biological need of procreating, because to actually procreate, you have to go out, you have to court someone, you have to court a young lady, you have to take care of yourself, you have to be attractive, physically fit, you have to be in your best possible, version, image of yourself. And that's difficult. It's not easy. It's not easy to go on dates. It's not easy to take care of yourself. It's worth it to take care of yourself. You should take care of yourself. You should be getting 8 hours of sleep. You should be eating healthy. You should be going on dates. All of these hard things that you need to do, they're necessary because they accumulate to you being the best version of yourself and attracting a proper woman. At the same time, we have a very accessible source of dopamine, which is called pornography, which you can literally just go on your fucking smartphone, on your Apple phone. You can go on it, you could search up the hub, and boom, you have this limitless source of dopamine. So when you compare actually finding a mate, and then you compare that hard, difficult thing to pornography, which you shouldn't do, but pornography is easy. It's right there. By human nature, we always take the path of least resistance. See, the reason why back in the day porn addiction wasn't as common as it is today is because your parents, your grandparents, your great-grandparents, they didn't have such easy access to porn that we do today. We're literally the first generation that has such easy access to this source of full, unhinged, unfiltered dopamine, which attacks the most primal parts of our brain. And it's a problem. Let me ask you a very simple question, and be honest with me, because depending on how you answer this will tell you everything you need to know about why you're addicted to porn. If you had a girlfriend who you were happy with and who you were attracted to and who you wanted to be with, if you had that girl right now and you were in a healthy relationship with her and you were having regular schmecks with her, would you still want to watch porn? If the answer is no, then you have just found out why you're addicted to porn. You're only watching porn because it's so easily accessible and you don't have access to the proper way of fulfilling your base biological needs. If you had a girlfriend and it was a healthy relationship and you were having regular schmecks, you wouldn't be watching porn. Because when I think about past relationships that I was in, during those times, I was not watching porn. Before I got into my first relationship, I was addicted to porn. In high school, in like grade 9, grade 10, bro, it was fucking bad. When I got into my first relationship in grade 11, for that entire relationship, I was not watching, like I did not watch a single second of porn. For the 3 years that I was with this fucking girl, I did not watch porn at all. And that told me a very simple but also very harsh reality. And that is, until I get into a relationship again, I'm always going to be struggling with porn addiction. No matter how you look at it, no matter how much I try to fight it, I am essentially a ticking time bomb until I have a lapse in willpower and fall back into the destructive habit of porn addiction. Now that we've established that the reason why you're watching porn is because you don't have a girlfriend, then the very simple but also hard to do answer is to get a girlfriend. And it's easier said than done. Now look, I haven't been in a relationship in a year and a half, and it's a problem, but it's something I'm working on. And my honest answer, not only to myself, but also for people in the same boat as me who don't have a girlfriend, it's to go out and make as many friends as possible. Because the common denominator for every single instance where I was in a relationship in the past was simply the fact that I was in social settings often. I was in new places often. I was meeting new people often. And I ended up meeting someone who was attracted to me, and I was attracted to them, vice versa. So the common factor, the common denominator for all of this was being in a social setting constantly. Ask yourself, are you in a social setting as often as possible? And if the answer is no, then that's your next step. Your next step is to go to the gym and just do small talk with people at the gym. Go and join a local club for something that you're interested in. You know, just say hi to people, compliment people. Go to church. Go to your mosque, go to your synagogue, like whatever religion you are, bro, just go to the main hub. Fuck, that's not the right word. Go to the main setting where other people in the same religious background are there with you. And it will genuinely help with your loneliness. You will make friends. You could potentially meet the love of your life. Do I recommend going to bars? Do I recommend going to places where there's alcohol involved? No, I don't think you're going to meet the love of your life at a bar. I don't think you're going to meet the love of your life at a club. You can go there. It could help with your confidence. I don't like clubs. I think they're too loud. Bars can be very loud as well, and to be honest, they house a lot of degenerate activity. Just be everywhere as much as possible. Meet as many people as possible. It'll not just help you to make friends, it'll also help you potentially meet the love of your life. And I promise you, once you're having regular schmecks, you will not have the desire to watch porn. At least that's how I operate. Now, I could be wrong. Again, I'm just a Dark Souls noob. This is just a random guy on the internet telling you about something that I struggled with and trying to give some practical advice, trying to get you guys to think about it a little bit differently, because the way I see these videos online, I genuinely do see a lot of self-help gurus who are trying to sell something. They're trying to sell their school course. They're trying to sell their community. They're trying to sell an ebook. Like, bro, don't take advice from these people. At most, if you're struggling with porn, I think if you're going to look online, the best place to look is Reddit. Okay? Because people don't try to, from my understanding, people don't try to sell something on Reddit. They genuinely have a problem and they're trying to seek a solution. And people who have struggled with it and solved it, they answer, how they solved that problem. So Reddit is a good place to start. But this goes back to my last video. Like, if you are struggling with porn or another addiction or loneliness, the number one place is to talk to your friends and family about it. And we don't like opening up. We don't like being raw and being vulnerable with other people, but you have to be with your loved ones. And you have to understand that you're not perfect. We all make mistakes and we all struggle with something. So if you don't want to open up and be vulnerable to your loved ones, then you're going to bottle up a lot of that emotion until it it becomes so big you implode, and you do something very foolish. A lot of people who have problems and they don't talk to their friends and family, or they don't seek professional help, they end up deleting themselves, and I don't want that for you. If you are genuinely struggling with porn addiction, don't take what I said as medical advice. I hope it helps you. I hope you go and take the step of meeting more people, making friends, and potentially getting a girlfriend, and hopefully that solves your addiction to porn. If that's something that doesn't help, then I recommend you get professional help. I genuinely recommend you go to a specialist who dedicates their life to helping people with porn addiction. You shouldn't be shouldering something like this alone, because porn addiction, again, it's a very harsh addiction, and it's an emerging addiction that we're dealing with today. That's all I gotta say. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening, and everything's gonna be all right. Ciao, ciao, guys.